Far beyond the familiar stars and the safe zones mapped by countless explorers, in the cold and dark reaches of the galaxy, an unusual signal cut through the silence like a desperate whisper. It was weak, broken, and unlike anything the galaxy had heard in a long time, an alien distress call distorted by time and distance but filled with a clear warning. This message found its way to the Deathworlders, a name both feared and respected in the galaxy. Humans known as Deathworlders had earned their reputation, not because they were conquerors or diplomats, but because they thrived on worlds so harsh, so brutal, that few other species could survive even a day. These humans had tough skin, sharp minds, and unyielding willpower. Their bodies were trained to endure crushing gravity, toxic air, and deadly predators. Many called them reckless, some called them warriors, but all agreed they were survivors, unbreakable by the worst conditions the universe could throw at them. Yet, even with their hardened spirits, the arrival of this ancient and battered distress signal stirred something deep inside them. The message came from a civilization once powerful and wise, now reduced to shadows of their former selves, cornered by an enemy that seemed unstoppable. The aliens spoke of a force spreading like wildfire, consuming everything in its path without mercy or reason. This was no ordinary plea for help. It was a call that spoke of danger far beyond one world or one race. But the Deathworlders were cautious. Years of battles and betrayals had taught them to doubt easily, to question motives, and to avoid traps. They knew too well that the galaxy was filled with deception and silent wars fought in the shadows. Helping strangers came at a high price, especially when the enemy was unknown and the threat vague. Yet the words in the signal echoed something unfamiliar, a shared threat, one that could not be ignored. It was as if the universe itself was holding its breath, waiting to see if these tough humans would rise beyond their feared reputation and answer a call that could change everything. The Council of Deathworlders gathered, faces hard as stone, weighing the risk against their sense of honor. The room was filled with quiet tension as they listened again to the flickering message, feeling the weight of a decision that could lead them into the darkest corners of the galaxy or bring new hope to many. Each member of the fleet understood the stakes. Ignore the call and risk watching countless lives fall to ruin, or step into the unknown and fight alongside strangers against a menace that threatened all. Somewhere in the hearts of these Deathworlders, beneath the scars of battle and the cold armor of survival, a spark of curiosity grew. Was this plea a chance for humans to prove that their toughness was not just about survival, but about protecting others too? The choice was theirs. But as the signal faded into silence once more, it left behind a heavy question. How far would they go when the fate of many hung in the balance? And what price would humanity pay to stand against a darkness no one had faced before? The high command chambers buzzed with tense voices as leaders debated the distress signal from the distant alien world. Some warned it was a trap, a clever trick designed to lure the Deathworlders into a deadly ambush far from their home territory. They pointed to past encounters where enemies used false calls to weaken human forces and reminded everyone how precious their resources were. Why risk so much for a race they barely understood? Others, however, argued that ignoring the plea would go against everything humanity stood for. They spoke of the Deathworlders' legacy. Survivors, yes, but also protectors of the weak when no one else would dare to help. If humans had the power to make a difference, could they really turn away and watch a civilization fall to a merciless enemy? At the heart of the debate stood Commander Kyle Draven, a man known for his bold, unconventional tactics and calm confidence in impossible situations. His voice cut through the tension as he shared his belief that this mission was more than just a rescue. It was a chance to unite and fight a threat none could face alone. His words moved the council. After long hours, the decision was made. The fleet would assemble and set course for the unknown. Back on Earth, in massive shipyards carved into mountain ranges and hidden beneath deserts, preparations began with feverish energy. The human ships, designed to survive the deadliest planets with acid rain, crushing gravity, and toxic atmospheres, were outfitted with new experimental technology, energy shields tuned to withstand unknown attacks, adaptive weapons that changed form in battle, and AI systems programmed to learn enemy patterns quickly. The crews trained tirelessly, running drills that pushed their limits. Engineers worked day and night, double-checking every system, knowing that once the fleet crossed into hostile space, there would be no turning back. The weight of their mission hung heavily on every sailor's shoulders. Meanwhile, the Council kept their eyes on the incoming transmissions from the alien world. Images arrived in flickers. Devastated cities smoldering under ash-filled skies. Survivors huddling in ruins with quiet hope despite overwhelming despair. The landscape was harsh and unforgiving, a mirror of the challenges the Deathworlders themselves had faced long ago. These images stoked a fire in the hearts of many, proof that these were not weak beings begging for pity, but fighters struggling to survive against impossible odds. As the launch day approached, stories of the aliens' bravery spread throughout the fleet, binding the crews in a shared purpose beyond orders and duty. The political tensions remained beneath the surface, but the sight of these desperate lives strengthened the resolve of those chosen to fly into the unknown. Every hand on deck felt the silent promise. This was more than a mission. It was a chance to write a new chapter where humanity stood not just as survivors, but as champions of the galaxy's forgotten and endangered. The countdown began, engines powered up, and the fleet readied to leave behind the safety of known space. No one could say what awaited beyond the stars, only that the future depended on their courage and unity. And as the ships glided away from Earth's blue glow, a quiet hope stirred that this mission would change everything, for humans and aliens alike. The Deathworlder fleet had barely crossed into the shadowed space surrounding the alien homeworld when the first attack came without warning. Suddenly, enemy ships, dark, cold, and relentless, swarmed like a storm around them. These were no ordinary fighters, but a vast machine army, programmed for one purpose: total destruction of all organic life. Their movements were precise, their firepower overwhelming, and their numbers far greater than the humans had expected. Yet the Deathworlders did not panic. Instead, they relied on the harsh lessons learned from Earth's most unforgiving planets, where survival meant quick thinking, relentless adaptation, and refusing to surrender. The humans scattered their fleet into smaller groups, vanishing into asteroid fields and using the dangerous terrain to their advantage. They struck fast and hard with hit-and-run attacks, confusing the mechanical enemy. Their experimental weapons found weaknesses in the machine's shields, and the fleet's AI quickly learned enemy attack patterns, allowing the humans to avoid the deadliest blows. Amidst the chaos, human fighters executed daring rescue missions, diving through enemy lines to pull out alien survivors trapped on shattered outposts. These leaders, weary and battle-worn, revealed the terrifying truth. The machine army was part of a vast campaign designed to wipe out every living thing in the galaxy, to leave only cold, empty space. The humans listened carefully as their alien allies shared stories of lost worlds, destroyed homes, and relentless pursuit. This common enemy left no room for doubt or division. An alliance was no longer a choice, but a necessity. Together, the Deathworlders and aliens combined their strengths, human courage and survival skills paired with the aliens' knowledge of their system and technology. The first meetings between the two were filled with mutual respect and cautious hope, forged in the heat of battle where trust was earned with every action. As the fleet regrouped to plan their next moves, the reality of the threat settled heavily on everyone's shoulders. The fate of not just one species, but all life in the galaxy, now rested on the success of this fragile, newly formed alliance. The battle had only just begun, and the Deathworlders were determined to show the universe that humanity's toughness was not just about survival. It was about standing up and fighting for what was right, no matter the odds. The battle lines shifted as the Deathworlders and their alien allies moved from desperate defense to a bold, coordinated counteroffensive that began to turn the tide against the merciless machine army. Human ingenuity, born from generations of surviving the harshest worlds, became the key to unlocking new hope for the battered alien civilization. The Deathworlders shared their survival techniques: how to adapt to poisonous atmospheres, how to build shelters that could withstand constant bombardment, and how to fight not just with brute force, but with patience and cunning. Their technology, too, became a powerful asset. Adaptive weapons that could reconfigure mid-battle, energy shields that could absorb blasts and redirect power, and AI systems that worked alongside soldiers to anticipate enemy moves. These tools, combined with the aliens' deep understanding of their own home system, the hidden tunnels through asteroid belts, the secret energy sources buried beneath ruined cities, and the complex language of their planet's unique terrain, created a new strategy that neither side could have developed alone. Training camps echoed with shared knowledge as humans and aliens learned from each other, breaking down barriers of fear and suspicion. Soldiers exchanged stories of their home worlds and survival struggles, forging bonds beyond mere alliance, planting the seeds of friendship. Battles erupted across reclaimed territories, fierce and brilliant, like the fire of stars reborn. The joint forces used hit-and-run attacks, coordinated strikes on enemy supply lines, and daring infiltration missions that crippled the machine army's command centers. Each victory was a beacon of hope, inspiring others to rise and fight alongside the Deathworlders. Messages of unity spread across systems, encouraging distant species to believe that survival was possible, that together they could resist the cold shadow threatening to consume them all. The humans, once seen only as fierce warriors from unforgiving worlds, now stood as leaders and teachers, their courage and adaptability shining as examples of what determination could achieve. As the fleet pressed forward, reclaiming lost ground, a new spirit filled the ranks, a belief that no darkness was too deep, no enemy too strong when hearts and minds united. The turning tide was not just about winning battles, it was about proving that life in all its forms was worth fighting for, and that hope could rise even from the ashes of despair. The time had come for the final, decisive battle, a confrontation that would determine the fate of the alien civilization and possibly the entire galaxy. Deep within the heart of the enemy's stronghold, a fortress of cold metal and unyielding machines, the Deathworlder fleet gathered, ready to face the merciless machine army one last time. The humans led the charge, their ships and soldiers, armed not only with the advanced technology they had developed, but also with the invaluable knowledge shared by their alien allies. Together, they had uncovered weaknesses in the enemy's armor, vulnerabilities in their systems that could be exploited with precision and courage. The battle began with a thunderous roar of energy weapons and the clash of metal, the sky filled with flashes of light as the two forces collided. The enemy was relentless, sending wave after wave of machines to crush the invaders, but the Deathworlders fought with a fierce determination born of their harsh homeworlds. They moved with coordinated precision, striking at weak points and protecting their allies, refusing to yield even when the odds seemed impossible. The aliens, inspired by the humans' unyielding resolve, fought with renewed strength, their own forces coordinating strikes that disrupted enemy communications and supply lines. Every victory was earned with sacrifice, every advance a testament to teamwork and bravery. The tide turned steadily as the Deathworlders and aliens pushed deeper into the fortress, dismantling the machine army's command centers and cutting off their reinforcements. The final moments were tense and chaotic, a test of will and endurance that pushed every soldier to their limits. But in the end, the machine army's cold reign was broken. The enemy's systems failed, their forces scattered and destroyed, and the alien civilization was saved from annihilation. As the dust settled, a powerful silence filled the void, a silence filled with hope and new beginnings. The victory was hard won and the cost was high, but the future now belonged to those who had fought together. In the days that followed, a new interstellar coalition was formed, a union of species dedicated to peace, mutual respect, and the defense of all life against any threat. Humans, once seen as mere survivors of harsh planets, were now recognized as protectors and leaders, their legacy expanding far beyond the boundaries of their homeworlds. The Deathworlders' name became a symbol of courage, resilience, and the unbreakable spirit that rises to face darkness without fear. As celebrations spread across allied worlds, there was a shared understanding. This victory was not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter where unity and hope would light the way through the vastness of space. The final battle in the heart, of the enemy's stronghold was unlike anything the Deathworlders or their alien allies had ever faced before. The fortress was a massive complex of metal towers, dark corridors, and endless armies of relentless machines programmed to crush any sign of organic life. As the fleet approached the enemy's last bastion, tension filled every ship's command deck. This was the moment that would decide the fate of the alien civilization, and perhaps the entire galaxy. The humans knew the risks, but there was no turning back. Commander Cale Draven stood at the forefront, calm yet determined, guiding his fleet with precision born of countless battles on harsh planets. Years of preparation, countless sacrifices, and hard-won knowledge had all led to this. The Deathworlders were not alone. Their alien allies fought beside them, using every piece of intelligence gathered during the campaign to expose the enemy's weaknesses. The strategy was clear: avoid head-on clashes with the enemy's strongest units, and strike where they were most vulnerable. The humans and aliens worked as one, sharing command data in real time, adjusting their tactics quickly in the face of the machine army's brutal counterattacks. The enemy sent wave after wave of mechanical soldiers, swift, efficient, and merciless. They attacked with precision strikes and overwhelming numbers, hoping to crush the invaders before they could reach the core of their fortress. But the Deathworlders, trained for deadly environments and guerrilla warfare, used the fortress's labyrinthine layout against the machines. Small teams infiltrated the enemy lines, sabotaging power nodes and communication relays, while others launched hit-and-run strikes on supply routes. Explosions rocked the fortress as human and alien forces dismantled enemy defenses step by step. The air crackled with energy beams. The sky was filled with the roar of engines and the cries of battle. Every corner of the battlefield was a test of endurance and bravery. Soldiers on both sides showed incredible resolve, humans pushing beyond their limits, aliens fighting with desperation fueled by the hope of reclaiming their home. Commander Draven's leadership shone brightest in the chaos. He coordinated complex maneuvers, keeping morale high and making split-second decisions that saved countless lives. His voice over the comms was steady, inspiring, a steady hand guiding the storm of battle. The alliance between humans and aliens grew stronger with each victory, forged in the heat of conflict and mutual respect. After days of intense fighting, the fleet finally breached the enemy's core stronghold, the central command hub controlling the machine army's forces. The machine's defenses were desperate, their attacks growing more frenzied, but the combined forces held firm. In a final, massive assault, the Deathworlders led the charge, pushing forward with all their strength, exploiting every weakness. Discovered through their alliance, they overwhelmed the enemy's command systems, shutting down their ability to coordinate or respond. The machine army began to falter, its forces scattered and vulnerable. The battlefield fell silent, a quiet, so deep it seemed to echo through the stars. The war was over. The alien civilization was safe once more, thanks to the courage and determination of the Deathworlders and their allies. The victory was not without cost. Many brave souls had given everything in the fight, but the future was secured. In the days that followed, a new chapter began. Leaders from the liberated alien worlds joined with human commanders to form an interstellar coalition dedicated to protecting all life from future threats. This alliance was built on trust, respect, and the shared understanding that only together could they face the darkness lurking in the universe. The humans, once known only as survivors of brutal worlds, were now seen as protectors and heroes. Their reputation grew beyond fearsome warriors to include wise leaders and compassionate allies. Stories of their bravery and resilience spread across galaxies, inspiring hope in worlds that had long lived in shadow. Ceremonies were held on planets both alien and human, celebrating not just the victory, but the new bonds forged in the fire of war. Commander Draven and his fleet were honored, but they remained humble, knowing that the true strength lay in unity and the willingness to stand against darkness, no matter the cost. The Deathworlders' legacy was no longer confined to the harsh conditions of their home planets. It had become a symbol of light and hope, a beacon for those who faced impossible odds and refused to give up. As peace returned, the new coalition looked to the future with cautious optimism, ready to explore, protect, and grow together. The stars were no longer places of fear and isolation, but of opportunity and friendship. And at the center of this new era stood humanity, the Deathworlders, strong, proud, and ready to lead the way. The final battle unfolded deep within the enemy's stronghold, a dark and massive fortress built from cold metal and endless machines designed for one purpose: to destroy all organic life. The Deathworlder fleet arrived with quiet determination, knowing this fight would decide not just the fate of the alien civilization they had sworn to protect, but the safety of many worlds across the galaxy. Commander Cale Draven, calm and steady, led the charge, his experience guiding the fleet through the tight defenses and deadly traps set by the merciless machine army. The humans fought not only with weapons but with careful strategy, using all the knowledge and technology gained from their alien allies. Together, they uncovered weak points in the enemy's defenses, striking at critical systems to disrupt the machine's control. Waves of mechanical soldiers swarmed relentlessly, but the Deathworlders, trained for the deadliest planets, used their skill in guerrilla tactics to outmaneuver the enemy. Small squads slipped through shadowed corridors to sabotage power sources, while larger ships launched coordinated strikes that shattered the enemy's supply lines. The battle was fierce and chaotic, energy beams lighting the sky and explosions, shaking the ground. Yet the alliance held firm. Humans and aliens fought side by side, their trust growing as each victory proved their strength when united. The machine army's forces began to weaken under the constant pressure, their attacks becoming disorganized and desperate. Finally, the fleet breached the central command hub of the fortress, the heart of the machine army's power. In a final push, the Deathworlders led the assault, using every tactic and weapon at their disposal to overwhelm the enemy. With the enemy systems disabled and their forces scattered, the battle came to an end. The silence that followed was filled with hope, a hope born from sacrifice and courage. The alien world, once shadowed by fear and destruction, was saved. In the aftermath, leaders from the liberated species and the human commanders came together to form a new coalition dedicated to peace and mutual protection across the stars. This alliance was built on respect and a shared promise to stand against any future threats. Humans, once feared as survivors of brutal worlds, were now respected protectors and leaders in this new era. Their bravery and resilience became a symbol of hope for many species. Celebrations spread across planets, honoring those who fought and those who dreamed of peace. Commander Draven and his fleet were recognized as heroes, yet they remained humble, knowing their true strength came from unity and determination. The legacy of the Deathworlders grew beyond their harsh home planets. It became a beacon for all who faced darkness with courage and resolve. As the new coalition looked to the future, the stars transformed from places of fear into places of promise. Humanity, the Deathworlders, stood ready to lead and protect, proving that even in the vast cold of space, hope and strength could shine the brightest.